terms as Secretary of State prior to moving into this office, and was elected with over 60% of the vote, which is amazing in any race, especially Mississippi. So without further ado, thanks, sir.
I want to be real cognizant of my time because Sam's going to speak here in a minute. And he writes a paper, so if I mess this up, I'm not going to look good in the paper. I don't take any pictures. We do appreciate the opportunity to come up today. We're doing what I have been anxious to do for the last year and a half. They kept me tied up in the Capitol. We had the COVID last year. I had COVID in July. Then we had the whole COVID experience. And then this year, of course, we've had all the pandemic and everything else that goes with it. So it's been about a year and a half since we went out and had a chance to visit with people that we know here and other places. We were in Columbus earlier this morning. We'll be here, and then later this week we'll be in Brookhaven and Natchez and basically all over the state. And what we're doing is listening. This afternoon we'll be listening to economic developers and others, our mayors and newly elected mayors and others. We'll be listening to them about what they need for next year. So what we were doing in Columbus, learned a lot, always learned a lot out of that. We had a real good year this year, I think. The things that did well, our education platform was significant. We have probably, we increased our teacher pay raise this year. We gave $8 million for early learning collaboratives. We gave money for loans for teachers that are graduating school to come out and teach. A lot of education things that went on, and a lot of things that we were real pleased to do, from everything from criminal justice reform to education. And part of what we will be doing this next year, from here to January, is coming out and talking to y'all about tax reform, delivery of health care, all the things that your jobs, economy. We're meeting with our economic developers. We had a bill called MFLEX that David Rumsbarger was way up in the front of, that did not get passed by the House, passed by the Senate, and passed by the House. And we are very, very needy of that reform to our business and city programs. We've got a SWIB board that now does education. All of our technical supplies go through our SWIB board now. People are going to get educated on the technical aspects of it. We've done pre-K. We're doing our education system is being funded with a tremendous amount of money, including $1.6 billion from the feds under the Rescue Act, $400 million more that goes to higher education, and then $1.8 billion to the state. So we will be probably one of our major goals next year will be to allocate that so that it doesn't go for just 1 year, but it goes for generations. And the way we expend those funds, both here and also in Jackson, are going to be critical. Tupelo got millions of dollars. The county got millions of dollars. And how we spend that money over the next few years will be the biggest challenge that we've got. We'll be doing a lot of listening. Everybody knows how to get in touch with us, so please give me a call. Call me at the Capitol anytime. I'd like to hear from all of you. We're going to have another good year. Our economy is looking exceptionally good. Total take for the state was $5.6 billion from the Rescue Act and $3.4 billion in unemployment compensation. So you're talking about, for those of you in the banking business, you're fixing to have a very good year because they're printing money and they're sending it down here. So I do want to give Sam this time. I appreciate so much y'all working me in and enjoy the fact I'll hang around a little bit afterwards before we go visit with Sam. I'll be happy to address anything anybody's got today. And I think we'll get a full dose from our mayors, boards of supervisors, and our economic developers later on today. It's really good to be back out. I'm glad y'all are meeting. Got to visit with our favorite piano player. We've been 12 years, I don't know how long you've been here, a while. So it's really good to have everybody back out. It's time for Mississippi to be open back up, and it's time for us to get to work. Thank y'all.
All right. Great way to start. Rob, I'll turn it over to you to introduce our other speaker today.
Thank you, David. Sam Hall was greeted by many of you when he came in the room because he's a Tupelo native Mississippian, born and raised in Tupelo. In fact, his soccer coach, Harold Hudson, came over to welcome him back to Tupelo. That's a great thing about coming home. Sam graduated from Millsaps College with a degree in political science. He spent nearly 20 years as a writer, editor, or publisher at newspapers in Mississippi and Alabama, including 5 years as the executive editor of the Clarion Ledger. Sam and his wife, Tara, have 3 children, 2 golden retrievers. They're about to be reunited as they're purchasing a home here, and we're delighted to be welcoming Tara and the kids to Tupelo as well, Sam. They live now in Rankin County outside Jackson, where they attend Lakeside Presbyterian Church, where Sam is a deacon. Tara is director of curriculum and chair of the English department at Hartfield Academy in Flowood. Sam and his family will be moving again full-time at the end of the school year, and we look forward to their becoming citizens and welcome treasured residents of Tupelo as well. Sam Hall. I guess I was trying to read my own notes. I assume that you knew that he is in fact the new editor of the Daily Journal, and but didn't say that. Forgive me for not being clear up front.
Well, it's not easy following Lieutenant Governor Hosemann. So I've been watching Michael Watson and what he does to make sure I, don't say college students shouldn't vote and I should be okay. Don't tell him I said that. I'm just big. But I'm looking forward to meeting with you later on. I told him I'd graciously bow out, let you have some more time, but that and public speaking's not. I prefer behind the keyboard a little bit more, but that's okay. I am happy to be here speaking with y'all. Even more happy to be back in Tupelo, my hometown. Graduated Tupelo High in '94. And my parents were still here for the first couple of years while I was in college. So we still have family. What's left of my family is still in Pontotoc. Both my parents are gone. So we still get back up here, a couple of times a year to visit. But since I've been here and just seeing, I knew it was growing. You can drive through and see how it's changed and all, but being here these last 2 months and really seeing how much it's grown and getting to see some of the new places and the way things have changed and looking for a house to buy and all the new subdivisions that have popped up. I mean, it's fantastic. It's a tremendous area. It was always great when I was growing up here. And it's coming home for me, but it's also, bringing my family. I'm bringing them to a place where, my wife and I can feel real comfortable about raising our children and our dogs and my daughter's 3 turtles. And I think that's all the animals we have in the house. I'm also excited to be, at the paper where I grew up reading. And I'm kind of like a kid on Christmas morning with the Daily Journal newsroom because it's something else. And so I'm going to spend my time kind of bragging about my new toy that I get to that I get to play with and that I get to lead the newsroom of, because our industry is, it's no secret we face a lot of challenges now and have for at least 20 years. As a matter of fact, we were talking. I don't know where he went, but there you are. We were talking about AJC and Clarion Ledger and Daily Journal going back 20 years, 25 years, and everything that's happened in that time. And I spent 10 years at the Ledger, 5 as the executive editor, and working for Gannett. And there's some good people there. We were doing some, trying to do some really good things, but that's a behemoth, and they have a set way forward. And a lot of newspaper companies are like that. They see print as dying. They see digital as the future. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. Digital is definitely the future. But a lot of these companies have said, we essentially are just going to wring every last dime out of our print readers until they stop, and we'll push them away, and that will be it. And it's nice to be back at a place where all of our readers and all of our customers are valued. I mean, we still have, I don't know if you know this or not, the Daily Journal remains the largest print circulation in the state, even bigger than the Clarion Ledger. It has been probably for about 5 or 6 years now, maybe even more. That's just kind of the way the industry's going. And it also shows you Gannett's, model, but the more so the importance that that the people here with the Journal put on our print subscribers. But we also have a really strong digital program, and that's one of the things that I hope to continue to build here. I've sat in Jackson before and looked at some of the podcasts, some of the election coverage stuff that this team was doing up here with great envy. And so to be now working alongside those folks, and some very talented folks in this newsroom, is exciting for me because we do have a lot of talent in that newsroom, and our abilities on digital, they far outstretch what a lot of newsrooms this size have in them. But I want to brag a little bit because I want people to understand just how fortunate we are in this part of the area to have what we have with this media outlet. And, the Daily Journal has a great reputation, has a great history up in this area, has had some tremendous leaders, going all the way back to George McLean. And it's phenomenal. But just to give you an idea of how the Journal has weathered this storm compared to, other properties. When I left the Ledger in January of last year, that newsroom size here at the Journal today, I have the same size newsroom as I did a year ago. In that 15 months, the Ledger's lost 16, has cut 16 positions. I think the Journal's newsroom has lost 1 and left it open. There is a great commitment here to community journalism and to protecting that newsroom. There's a great commitment to our print readers and to our digital readers, and it's refreshing. It's fun, and it's because of the people who are leading the Journal. It's because of the talent that we have. We have a great newsroom. We have a good mix of young and veteran reporters there, and it's a great team. I tried to steal Caleb away when I was in Jackson about 3 years ago. I tried my darndest to get Caleb to come to Jackson, and he wouldn't do it. And so I'm glad he didn't now, because he's my right hand there, and I would have been kicking myself severely right now if he was sitting in Jackson. But we have just a tremendous staff there. I get asked what I want to do, what I want to change, what the future of the paper looks like. And, really and truly, you won't see just like wholesale changes or anything. There's nothing like that plan. We'll tweak here and we'll tweak there, but there's still a great commitment to community journalism alongside, more investigative and statewide journalism here. I was talking with someone the other day. A lot of the stuff that's been lost in newspapers as they shrunk, the less important journalism, Tupelo still does. We've written, I think, 4 stories about students who got scholarships in 2 months that I've been here. I can't tell you the last time, and these weren't, $400 scholarships, which are great scholarships. These were big scholarships. Don't get me wrong. Some of them, there's thousands of dollars worth of scholarships. But I can't tell you the last time that I've seen a story like that outside of a weekly paper. But it's that commitment to, people and to small businesses and writing about that stuff at a daily paper that I just absolutely love. And we want to continue to do all of the great things that we're doing. I was talking with Leah earlier. We were talking about Luke Ramseth, who's a Capitol correspondent for us. Probably seen his byline quite a bit. He's here through the legislative session. That's a temporary spot, but I've already offered him a full-time gig. We want to that position will be a permanent position. Now, may not be Luke because his girlfriend's graduating from her master's, and they're looking at a PhD program. So I don't know if he's going to be in the state or not, but if he's staying in the state, he will be our guy. And I love Luke. He's fantastic. Worked with him in Jackson. Caleb was able to get him to come on board. He knows the Capitol and all the players there. And so I think that bringing that back is something, which is something that we had lost. I think that's important. So that's whether it's him or something else, we are adding that. We're also looking at other investments in the newsroom as far as additional reporters. We've got two that we're looking at ways, creative ways to fund those that William and some of the others have looked at through grants and nonprofits and things that I've had some experience with doing in the past. So we're going to try to do that here so that we can continue to invest in the newsroom. So it's a fantastic media outlet here, and it's something that I can't stress, having with my experience, can't stress how fortunate we are to have it. It faces the same challenges that everybody else faces. We deal with print revenue going down and trying to raise digital revenue fast enough to offset. We face print subscriptions going down and an explosion in digital subscribers here, which is very helpful, especially for a market this size, punching way above our weight class on that. And so, we face these same challenges that the industry as a whole does, but the commitment from the board, from William, from the people who are there has been phenomenal. And it's what's kept this paper as healthy as it is for so long. And so really, really happy to be here. More than happy to take questions. I always do that. I always get a lot of the same ones, and I never tire of answering them. But even if you don't ask now, email me, leave me a voicemail if you can't get me. I'm more than happy to talk, listen to suggestions, listen to complaints. We get one or two of those an hour. And so, but, and it's usually not about us. That's sometimes it is, but I get a lot of complaints about what happens in national stuff and why did that happen? And I'm like, I don't know, call their editor. But if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to take them.
So about the younger readers, the generations coming up, number one, are they readers of the paper? How do they get their news? How can we as a paper bring them along or get them interested in local news?
So, and this speaks to the business model too as a whole. So yes, there are readers of the news. They're not necessarily readers of any one publication, but they're readers of the news. And in some ways, more so throughout the day than what our traditional readers are, which are, one and gone type readers. But they find their news on several different places, and a lot of them are aggregators, like social media in particular. That's where a lot of the traffic comes in from. Search is another big one. They're wanting to know, like, a lot of the traffic that we're getting today with the Bank for South Cadence announcement. A lot of it's coming, of course, from a push that we put out. But a lot of people are getting social media, and a lot of people are Googling to say, hey, I saw that. I want to know what it's about. They're not going to any one place to look it up. They go to Google and they ask the question, and that's where it comes in. And so, that's an important part of what we do digitally is, paying attention, just like we used to with and still do with print, with headlines are important to capture readers. Now headlines on digital are important to make sure that the search engines are finding it. And so, we'll have different headlines in print than digital sometimes. And you'll see the word Mississippi or the word Tupelo a lot in headlines online where you don't in print, but that's because of search engines and things like that. But that poses a challenge to our business model in a way. Historically, with print, everything was tied together. You had one product. And so our sales side, the news created the product, the sales side used that product as its mechanism for advertising. And that's what they sold. They sold that product. Digitally, that doesn't work as much. They still sell our product. We still have ads on our site and all, but we also do, web design. We manage social media for companies. We do Facebook and Google targeted ads. We provide a whole array of digital services. And that revenue is then used to support the news functions. And that's the way the industry, works. It has had to diversify its revenue streams, to make that profitable and make it effective for us.
You're anticipating further reduction in daily print coverage. We already lost Monday and Saturday. You see a further reduction in that, and also what about the future of the local weeklies that the journal owns? Talk about the Long County and all that.
So nothing immediate, nothing that's being discussed as far as reduction of print days. What happens 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road, who knows what that looks like. But no, nothing immediate, nothing that's being discussed as far as print reductions or anything like that. Our weeklies, weeklies are a little bit different. They have a slightly safer business model in certain areas because it is, a smaller knit community, and especially in the South where it's not as big of a transient community, people stay. And so the challenges are on a much smaller scale. But most of our weeklies are doing well. We've got a couple that, are facing stronger challenges than others. But they've also, one of them I used to run before the Journal owned it, and it faced those same challenges then as it does now. It's nothing new. But they're still very, very healthy, most of them. I mean, you look at Onondaga, Nittawamba, and Monroe, and they are, those are really strong community papers there. And that's another unique thing about this. We treat, we treat all of this editorial team as one team. We share content all the time. We share resources all the time. That gives us the ability to do more regional work than what we would be able to do if it was just the Journal sitting by itself, because we have all of these people out in those other communities, and we try to take advantage of that as much as possible.
So how can the community help? How can the Journal help? We're in a unique situation where it's a locally owned newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
It's the largest in the state. So what can the communities do? What can we do in our homes to encourage that readership of the local newspaper? More so, what gets subscriptions really?
Subscribe. If you run a small business, advertise. If you make decisions for a big business, advertise. Past that, I mean, the greatest tool that we have for, branding and sharing is, usually social media. It's, it used to be word of mouth and, our newspaper stands, and we would put those everywhere and anywhere. Social media is that now, and sharing our content is great. That's, we encourage readers to share that out all the time on their, we have great social media followings. We post something on Facebook, I can just about tell you what we're getting and, which one's going to, resonate, which one's not. But what's even more important is, when readers are sharing these stories out, because they have a relationship with you that they don't have with us. And that, when you share something out, that signals that, hey, you believe this, you have faith in this, you trust that. So subscribe, advertise, and share. Anything else? Thank you very much. I appreciate it.